Okay, hi everybody. We're honored here today to discuss the recently signed IBA between Evolution Mining, Wabaskang First Nation, and Lac Seul First Nation. My journey in the mining industry started 35 years ago with an apprenticeship at Noranda's Bell Mine in northern BC. Since then, I've worked as a tradesman, manager, EPC construction owner, and consultant that specialized in ECG within the resource sector. Today, I am the Superintendent of Social Responsibility at Evolution Mining. That said, I'm happy to be joined by my friend, Amanda Miller, who serves on the implementation committee for our new agreement.
Thank you. So good morning, everyone. As Jamie said, my name is Amanda Miller. I just wanted to start by saying I'm incredibly grateful to be here today with all the brilliant minds in this room. It's just my absolute honor, aside the amazing Jamie Saulnier of Evolution Red Lake Operations. I am a proud member of Lac Seul First Nation, born and raised in the Red Lake area. I now serve as Business Development Manager for the Lac Seul First Nation. I entered this space with a clear goal: to create space where corporations and communities can work together in a truly collaborative way, where agreements are not just checkboxes to be ticked, and Indigenous participation is not tokenism. I feel very fortunate to serve as co-chair on the implementation committee for this agreement because I truly believe in what it represents. This work is about building meaningful, lasting partnerships that recognize the value Indigenous communities bring, not only through our workforce and our businesses, but through our deep knowledge of the land, our cultural values, and our vision for sustainable development. In every collaboration, I strive to move beyond the minimum requirements toward genuine relationship built on trust, transparency, and mutual respect, because that is how we create agreements that work for both industry and community.
So as the name suggests, Evolution is more than just a company. It's a story of growth, resilience, and ambition. From humble beginnings, we've transformed into a globally significant gold mining business recognized for consistently delivering value to our stakeholders. Evolution currently operates 6 mines, 5 in Australia and 1 in Canada. Next is you.
So for those of you who are not aware, the Red Lake Gold District sits on the traditional territories of both Lac Seul First Nation and Wabaskang First Nation. These lands have been cared for since time immemorial and continue to provide for our communities today. Acknowledging this shared territory is important because it reflects more than just geography. It reflects our responsibility to protect the land, waters, and way of life that connect us Anishinaabe people. This agreement was built on recognition that the land holds not only resources, but stories, knowledge, and teachings. Partnership is more than economic development. It's about respecting our rights, respecting the rights of our nations, and ensuring development honors our role as stewards of the territory. To carry this work forward into action, our nations established Shared Spirits Development Corporation as our economic development partner. Shared Spirits leads and coordinates efforts to follow proper protocols, ensuring opportunities are shared instead of competed for, and advancing initiatives like environmental monitoring and meaningful economic outcomes, so that responsibilities and benefits are carried forward together. We are actually joined here today by CEO Mark Vermette of Shared Spirits, who's at the back of the room, guiding this important work. By working in this way, Lac Seul First Nation and Wabaskang First Nation strengthen our presence to protect what matters most and to create opportunities that will last for generations to come.
So after a long haul, I think it was about 3 years, on June 5th, 2025, Evolution signed a new IBA that marks a significant step towards strengthening our relationship with our First Nations partners. This agreement is designed to protect and enhance our reputation as a trusted partner and provide community benefits that endure beyond the life of mine. As we all know, IBAs provide the framework of the partnership. However, the success of the agreement depends on a strategic, jointly developed implementation plan.
So this is a practical agreement built on mutual respect, shared goals, and a vision for sustainable development. A key priority of this IBA resulted in the creation of committees with representation from Evolution, Lac Seul First Nation, and Wabaskang First Nation, with a focus on meaningful collaboration, creating space for increased Indigenous involvement in the mining industry, specifically at Evolution. In fact, we have representatives from our committees here today. A big shout out to Reggie Bacon from Wabaskang First Nation, and Trin Hart from Wabaskang First Nation, and Rod Bacon from Lac Seul First Nation. I am honestly so absolutely grateful to work with this team of powerhouse people. They're absolutely amazing, and our team is just so strong, and I know that we'll carry out this agreement better than anyone could ever expect. Okay, so back to the agreement. I got lost there. So there is implementation funding built into the agreement to build capacity within the nations, representing a true partnership rather than a transactional relationship. So let's review each committee in detail, shall we, Jamie?
Sure. The first one that we thought was very, very important was a Human Resources Committee. So again, net smelter returns are great for generating wealth for the nations, but sometimes does not have the impact that that could be present for the community members as well. So we looked at this and said the first thing we wanted to do was develop a Human Resources Committee. And the idea behind that was to maximize employment and training opportunities for Lac Seul and Wabaskang First Nations. To do that, we developed a joint committee that representatives for both Evolution and the nations that works together, ensuring employment strategies are co-developed and guided by shared priorities. We are in the process of updating our human resources strategy with input from our First Nations partners to include opportunities, operations, and contractors we work with. That's a big one because in a lot of the operations I've been in the past, the capital programs are where a lot of the opportunities are for employment, and often there isn't a process or a roadmap that allows contractors to effectively engage with the communities and provide those opportunities. So a big part of what we're doing is working together with Shared Spirits and both of our partners to ensure that the contractors that are working in the capital space on our site are aware of how to engage and aware of how to hire people and hire First Nation businesses and so forth and so on. So that's a very, very important part of what we're doing. And we're going to continue training and education pathways to help members succeed at all levels. So this year we finished our second STOPE school. We had 8 people come into the STOPE school at the very beginning, and all 8 people were given a full-time position at Evolution Mining afterwards. And we're in the process right now of launching our apprenticeship program as well. So bringing in people into our programs for a variety of trades. And so that's just a couple examples of how we're going to continue with our employment training. The outcomes of this is going to be our workforce. Something we're proud about is that our workforce currently consists of 25% female and 16% First Nation. So the goal is to increase representation of our First Nations as skilled professionals and build long-term careers, just not short-term jobs.
Okay, so the Business Opportunities Committee's purpose is to create meaningful, sustainable business opportunities for Lac Seul First Nation and Wabaskang First Nation through Shared Spirits and the Red Lake Operations supply chain. The responsibilities include developing a joint committee of Evolution and the Nations representatives that work together to set procurement priorities, design fair processes, and ensure opportunities are shared equitably, and to provide priority scopes to Indigenous businesses, and finally, monitor and share information on contract opportunities and outcomes. The main outcomes are to give First Nation businesses better opportunity to win contracts at RLO, which is Red Lake Operations for those who don't know, capacity building to strengthen local enterprises for long-term success, and finally, but not limited to, sustainable Indigenous-led economic development that extends beyond the mine life. So when I think of an example of this that's already happening is Evolution has identified the purchasing of core boxes through our First Nations businesses. So in Lac Seul, we're hard at work trying to create a core box manufacturing business. So stay tuned on that one. TBD.
Environment. So the purpose of the Environment Committee was to protect the land, water, and environment while ensuring development aligns with Anishinaabe values and community priorities. So the responsibilities of this committee is to, the Joint Committee of Evolution and First Nation representatives that work together to review permits, plans, spend time in the field, and ensure environmental protection and shared responsibility. Our team is going to review permits, environmental management, and monitoring plans, incorporate traditional ecological knowledge alongside Western science, and recommend studies and mitigation that measures and addresses impacts. So you can see this picture here. That's our main man, Reggie. So we're in the process right now of building an entirely new tailings facility in Red Lake. Our ponds are full. So we're in the process of building a new one, and as you can imagine, there's a lot of environmental consultation that has to go forward for that. So along the way, part of the idea behind this is that we're going to have our First Nations partners at the table with us and in the field with us to monitor and to work together with us to, look at all things environmental and make sure that any concerns are addressed and mitigated as we go forward. So that's it?
Nope.
Oh.
Next slide.
Nope.
Yeah. So the Cultural Committee, which I think is the most important committee, the purpose of the Cultural Committee is to ensure cultural values, heritage, and Anishinaabe knowledge is respected and embedded into operations. The responsibilities include developing a joint team of Evolution and the Nations representative that work together to weave cultural values into operations, ensuring development honors community identity and tradition, and to advise on cultural and ecological matters, and to coordinate elder support, ceremonies, and cultural awareness initiatives, and to address cultural workplaces raised through HR and business teams, and to provide guidance on cultural safety at Red Lake operations, and finally, but not limited to, also, when requested, advise on the content and interpretation of Anishinaabe law. The main outcomes include a stronger recognition and protection of cultural heritage, and a culturally safe workplace for First Nations members and businesses, and ongoing inclusion of traditional knowledge in decision making. And I actually just thought of an example now that I wasn't going to include, but what Jamie was talking about the training program at Evolution, and I was involved with creating that from the other side when I worked at Evolution. But one thing that we did was we brought in an elder right from the beginning of the training program to offer support, guidance, and really bring in that traditional aspect. We also did a financial literacy course that was really Indigenous focused because priorities are different in Indigenous communities. They're not the same as colonial communities. So we really built that program around Indigenous values, which is something that I hope that we do more work as the committees are built out. So the main outcomes include stronger recognition. Did I already write this part? Yeah, we can move on to the closing.
Okay, closing remarks. You want to go first?
No, you go first.
Oh, I go first.
You're
Okay.
first.
So this is something, obviously, folks, that we take very seriously. A new IBA is not something that gets signed every day here in Canada, and in a way, we're kind of leading the charge on behalf of other mining companies and other First Nations. So this is something that we're going to take very, very seriously, and we're hoping that it's going to help other mines that are currently looking to operate in our territory, and help them to pave the path to the same type of partnerships that we have going forward. So. As always, I'd like to thank our team over there and Miss Amanda for being here and driving me crazy, and go from there. Thanks.
Thanks. I have to do my closing remarks. So, and I don't want to miss anything. So for Lac Seul First Nation, this agreement is more than just words on paper. It represents commitment for real opportunities for our people today and generations to come. What makes it so powerful is not only our partnership with Evolution, but also our collaboration between Lac Seul and Wabaskang First Nation. Together, we are showing what true partnership looks like, built on respect, trust, and shared vision. My hope is that this can serve as an example for the mining industry on how agreements can go beyond transactions to create meaningful, lasting, positive change for Indigenous nations and companies alike.
Thank you.